Media queries are very important when building responsive websites. And in today's web development world, making your website responsive on different screen sizes is a very important feature to implement. And in this video, we are going to be covering the basics of using media queries in CSS. To get started, I have an HTML file where I just have an H1 element, a section element with some divs in it, and a paragraph element. I also have a CSS file which I've linked to. And in the CSS file, I'm just changing the color of the H1 element and that of the paragraph element. I'm making the section element a flex container by giving it a display of flex. And for the children of the flex container, I'm giving each of them a width of 32% and a height of 150 ps. And you can see the result here. Now, whenever you're on a web page and you want to view how that web page will look like on different screen sizes, on your browser, you can just right click on that web page and look for this option that says inspect. Once you click on that, look for the option that says toggle device emulation. Immediately you click on that, you will get to a screen that you can actually adjust and see how that web page will look like on different screen sizes. Now, most times whenever you're working on the website and you're trying to make it responsive, you're always going to be doing this. Now, you mostly use media queries when you have some CSS rule that you want to modify or override at different screen sizes. For example, whenever this screen comes to a screen size of around 700 px, you can see the size up here. I want the color of this text to become red, which is this paragraph text here. Now, to get started using media queries, all you have to do is just say @media, then open and close brackets, and then parentheses. In between this open and close brackets, what we want to put there is a media query selector. In this case, like the max width. And then put a breakpoint there. In this case, we are looking at 700 px, so we'll say 700 px. Now, in between this open and close curly bracelets, what we want to put there is the style that we want to apply on this particular screen size. And in this case, we are looking at overriding this paragraph style and making the color red. So what we'll do is come in here and say P and then change the color to red and save that. Watch what happens whenever we come to a screen size that is 700 ps or less. You see it becomes red. And of course, if you go to a bigger screen size again, the style at the top will be applied. And that is just it. Another thing I would like to change is the direction of our flex container, so the children are no longer displayed in a row but in a column. And to do that, all we have to do is come down here and override this flex direction of our section elements. So what we have to say is flex direction, and by default, when you have a flex box, the direction is row. We want to change that from a row to a column. And if I save that now, and we come within that screen size, 700 px, you see that the boxes are stacked on top of each other. In this case, they are displayed in a column. And we need spaces in between the boxes, and we'll be using the margin property for that. And that will be for each of the div elements. So we'll come down here again, and we'll say section div, give it a margin bottom of like 30 ps. And if we save this now, you see we get that margin bottom. I also want them to occupy the full width of their parent instead of just 32% that was set initially. So all we need to do again is override that. So instead of 32, we'll say 100%, and there you have it. And this web page now is already mobile responsive. Now, when working with media queries, there's one important CSS rule that you should keep in mind, and that is the fact that CSS code is executed from top to bottom. And what this means is that the code at the bottom would always override that at the top. For example, if you notice up here, we are making the color of this paragraph element blue. And then in our media query, which is just beneath that, we're changing it to red. Now, if I come down here again and I have another P and I change the color here to red, let's use a different color, yellow, and I save this, you will notice that this yellow color now would override all of the colors we've set up here, even the media query we set here. So even on a larger screen, we get yellow, and on a smaller screen, we still get that yellow color. So you want to keep that in mind, and that is why in most cases you will see that the media query code is always the last code in every CSS file. Now, another thing with media queries is you can have multiple breakpoints. For example, we have this breakpoint of max width of 700 px. What if I want to also make some changes at around 900 px? Well, you can go ahead and add that too. So we can say media again and open and close brackets, curly bracelet, and in here we'll just say max width hyphen there, max width, and set this to 900 px. And in here, let's change the color of that paragraph element again to maybe orange. Oops, we have to say color orange. If I save this now, just watch the size at the top here, and let's scroll down. Whenever we are within 700 ps, we get the red, but immediately we get to 700 and anything 700 and above up to 900 ps, we'll get the orange, but this orange isn't really showing. So let's pick a different color. Maybe let's pick yellow. That will be quite obvious. Alright, good, we get that color. And when we go to a bigger screen size now, that is bigger than 900 ps, let's expand this a bit. Okay, you see we go to the default blue. So how this is working is, whenever we're on the screen size of 900 ps and below, this color yellow will be applied. This breakpoint here, the style in this breakpoint will be applied. And whenever we get to 700 ps again and below, this style here in this breakpoint here will be applied. Also, with media queries, you can actually target specific devices like screen devices, print devices, and speech devices. Screen devices include devices like laptops, desktops, tablets, and smartphones, and print devices include devices like printers. And to target a specific device, all you have to do is just say @media followed by that specific device you want to target. In this case, let's target the screen device. And to add a breakpoint to this, you just say and open and close brackets, and in between this bracket is where you put a query selector. In this case, let's say max width, and set this to 900 ps, then open and close the curly bracelets. Now, whatever CSS rule you write inside of this curly bracelets will be applied on this device at this breakpoint. And also to target a print device, you just say @media followed by print. Now, when targeting print devices, we commonly don't add a breakpoint to that, so we'll just end that there with put our curly bracelet, and in between this curly bracelet now, you can go ahead and add the CSS rule you want to apply. So let's say whenever we want to print this web page, I want this text here, okay, this paragraph text to have a color of purple. So I can just say P and then change the color here to something like purple and save that. Now, to see that in action, we would have to actually do Ctrl P, okay, and if we scroll down now, you can see that it has that color of purple. Now, to clarify this, whenever you use media query without specifying a particular device you want to target, like in this case up here where we just said @media followed by the breakpoint, in this case, whatever rule you write here would actually be applied to all devices, and that's because you did not actually specify a particular device. But when you specify a device by just writing the device name, any CSS rule you write in between the curly bracelet there would only be applied on that specific device. If you found this video helpful, you can check out my other videos and make sure to subscribe to get more videos like this. Thank you.